All right, here we go. Yo, what up, though, man? I got a gatekeeper in the building, a Detroit legend in the building, a Grammy-nominated music executive, founder of B&B Records, responsible for acts such as Trick Trick, Charlie Baltimore, Icewear Vezo, Cash Dial, Ayo and Teo, and many more. Man, and according to the Detroit News, he's a rap mogul and a hero in Kingpin. Thank you for entering the mogul state of mind. Brian Peanut Brown, how you doing, my guy?
Excellent, my brother, excellent. What's happening with you?
Hey, man, I appreciate you sitting down with me, man. I'm excited to capture your journey. Shout out to Danny D Girl, man. I came up there and did an interview a while ago, man, and she dropped your name like, man, you got to get this dude. He animated, things of that nature, man. You got a hell of a story, so I'm ready to capture that journey.
Okay, I'm ready for you.
Man, so Detroit native, man. What part of Detroit you from?
West side. Some would say southwest by Livernois and Warren area, but it's really the west side.
Okay. And what was that like growing up over there on the west side for you? I'm from Joy Road.
Oh, okay. Over there, it was pretty much like everywhere else. You know what I mean? With the exception that we 2 blocks away from Crunk, so everybody thought they can fight. So, you know what I'm saying? Outside of that, it's just like growing up anywhere else in Detroit. You know what it is.
Got you. Now, growing up in Detroit, like, what was your family dynamics like, and what year frame? You know what I'm saying? Like, just growing up in Detroit, like, what time period do you stamp as like your heyday in Detroit?
My heyday in Detroit was the late 80s.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like early 90s, real short, like 91, 92. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, right after that, I went on a run. So I say late 80s, early 90s.
Okay. Now, I want to kind of take this journey on through. So you grew up mostly with your grandparents, but your uncle and your dad kind of had a name for themselves. Like, how did you end up with your grandparents and not with your parents, especially like your mom?
Well, shit, my father was in and out of prison all the time. You know what I'm saying? And my mother, she was kind of like just floating from time to time. But even when she, got her due, I went to go stay with them, periodically. But to have a good, stable environment, it was better for me and my sister to just live with my grandparents.
Hey, growing up without like just being with your parents full time, did you ever have any resentment towards your parents?
Nah, back then, the parenting was a little different. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't afford to harbor resentment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, they was parenting for real. You know what I mean? So that resentment was out the door. Nevertheless, and I didn't have no resentment, but this is probably what formed my character. Like I said, I was the only child till I was 5.5 going on 6. Then my sister was born, and when she was born, it was like my family forgot about me. You know what I'm saying? And in the midst of that, it forced me to want to be accepted. It made me do extra to guarantee that that y'all gonna love me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that carried over into this day. You know what I'm saying? I go over and beyond and make sure my partner love me, fuck with me, my women love me. You know what I mean? So I just go over and beyond to solidify, you know what I'm saying, my presence in somebody's relationship or, in the foundation.
Got you. Now, you talk a lot about your uncle impact on you. Kind of what was your dad and your uncle known for in the streets in Detroit?
Shit. My uncle was known for weed and just being like the mayor of the neighborhood. My father was really known for murder, for real. He was a hired hitman in and out of prison. You know what I mean? That's just who he was. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, he was a hell of a family man, and he was a family man to the community.
At what age did you start to realize, especially your dad being a hitman, how did you find out he had that occupation?
Man, I didn't find out until my teens, but when I was 4 or 5, he had this guy in the living room, and he called me out the bedroom, and he wanted me to shoot the guy. You know what I'm saying? Now, at this time, I wasn't even really too conscious of, guns like that. So, I'm just sitting there holding the gun like, he like, shoot him. And I'm just looking at the guy screaming, crying, don't do it, don't do it. You know what I'm saying? I kind of like froze up for real. You know what I mean? And he smacked me up. Tell me, get the fuck on. Going back in the bed with your mama. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, I at that point, I knew it was different than any other father-son relationship or any, you know what I mean? Any parent, child relationship. So at that point, I say 4 or 5.
Got you.
But found out he was a hitman. I ain't found out he was a hitman until I was probably like 15, when somebody was looking to kill him, ran up on him with the gun. It was a revolver. He grabbed the revolver part from what I'm hearing in the streets, took the gun, killed him broad daylight, and then that's when he went on a run. And so when he went on a run to Florida, and just all of the I was old enough to understand all the talk that was going on in the streets. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just hearing about so many people that he's already killed.
Got you. Now, with your uncle, he was more on the hustling side. Did he ever introduce you to the hustling side? When did you find out about your uncle's occupation?
Shit, he had me in it. You know what I mean? Because he really only sold weed, so it wasn't really too much of a threat. But, from time to time, when he ain't have time, when he had want to shoot a move or something, he'd just have me sitting at the house, you know what I'm saying, serving nickel and dime bags to whoever come. You know what I mean? So he pretty much had me in it the whole time, and just watching him throughout, my growing up. We right there. So he was pretty much raised like my brother versus my uncle.
Got you.
Because his parents raised me.
Now, growing up in Detroit, how aware were you of the crack epidemic in Detroit? Like, were you aware before crack? Do you remember a time before crack took its precedence, and when it did take over? Yeah,
because during that time when my father tried to have me shoot the dude, they was buying cocaine, and at that time, ounces of cocaine was $1,800. I just remember him talking about it all the time. It was $1,800 an ounce. You know what I'm saying? So this might have been in the 70s, early 70s, that it might have been in the early 70s that I noticed, you know what I'm saying, the cocaine, and I'm cooking it into rock form and little vials. They should like use these little tube things, very different than how it's being cooked now.
Now, when did you start to see like the environment, the neighborhood start to go down from the effects of crack?
That might have been like 85, 85, 86 for me. 85, 86, I started seeing it go down.